Hi.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
We are back at Femme Tell All, the podcast.
Yes.
The podcast. And
This is Madison Bellissimo.
And this is Ruth Devereaux.
Aye.
I don't know I don't know what kind of dialect we're putting on, but we're not cool enough to do it.
Don't
I know
come
that
for
much.
us.
I think we just do silly voices all the time.
We do.
We weren't trying to interpret
And
anyone.
Madison also sings, which I love, and I try to keep up, but her voice is so beyond me.
I don't.
It's not fair. So
Never sang in my life.
Just like also sitting next to her is unfair for me. But
What? That's not true at all. Also, hot tip, if you're ever in the car with Ruth Devereaux, please, I beg of you, put on
I know she's going to say.
Always Be My Baby by Mariah Carey, and she will sing it at the top of her lungs. And
that's to Mariah, not to God.
Yeah,
to Mariah.
Mariah is your God.
Mariah.
She really sings it so well.
I do love my Mariah.
Oh my God.
So for me, like, side note, this is
Yeah,
not even
let's
about the
do it.
conversation. When I was growing up, my mom had 2 cassettes in her car and a cassette player. They were both Mariah Carey. The entire soundtrack to my childhood is Mariah Carey.
You can hear it. You can hear it. You sing it.
The passion.
So it's like every time I'm picking you up to go somewhere, I cue
You
it up.
do.
Yeah,
I love
try.
that.
Like if we're going somewhere like fun for you,
Yeah.
like I'm like, oh, Mariah
For my
Carey's.
birthday,
Yeah.
like the second song when I got in the car, I was like, "Did you plan this?" She goes, "Yes, I queued it up for you." I'm like, "God bless your soul,
Obviously.
Mariah, bless your soul."
Yeah, no, truly. I fucking saw the viral clip of her. It's like 2008, 2010, something like that. And she's like, "Stop singing my part," like to her like
Yes.
background singers. Oh my God, every single
She's a
time.
queen.
I'm like, Mariah,
She's
she
a
has
queen.
no chill, and I
No,
kind of love
and
it.
We love that.
Yeah.
Get you or get you? Do you?
Do what?
Do you? Do you, Mariah?
Oh, do you get you as well? I was like,
messed
this
up.
is a secret code I'm not aware of. Okay. Anyway, so you will be very surprised to know that today's episode is not about Mariah Carey. It is actually about money, 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 money.
Money.
There you go.
Oh,
I knew you were going to complete it.
Damn it. I love it. You love me.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to leave you hanging. I just thought you would complete it. Okay. And I think you need to really be the like forefront of this because first of all, she's an expert on all things like money and investing and like really just again we've talked about before, and if you haven't seen previous episodes, Ruth is just like such a boss as far as like business goes and being professional and whatnot, and that translates to how you handle money. And it's something that I've always really recognized and like wanted to like, I've been like, hey, how did you get into this? How did you do this? How did you do this? Because I am someone that needs to learn more about money. I don't have problems with money, but I would say that I am constantly like, well, am I ruining I like screwing myself over by not investing early enough, by not buying a house? Like, I'm like, a house feels so far away from me, you know?
So I would say no to the house. Investing, yes. I would say absolutely.
Yeah.
At any age, you should be investing in some form or fashion.
Yeah.
The earlier, the better. And I know that's hard. And I know it's even harder in today's world. Like we're paying so much for life, period, just to exist. You pay a lot of money, especially if you live in a town like we live in. If you live in any like major metropolis, you're paying a lot for rent, you're paying a lot for groceries, you're paying a lot in taxes, you're paying a lot just to exist. And then on top of that, like you're probably not making as much as you should. So where does that crux come from? Like where do you find that ability to save for the future? And just to burst anybody's bubble that's like, I have a 401k or I have this at my company, that is not enough. That is not going to suffice when you retire. That will not help you. So it can't be just that. And I know it's scary and I know it's overwhelming and it's hard to like stay on top of everything, but it is a necessity. It just is.
Yeah.
And every little bit helps.
Yeah.
Like even the smallest thing, I don't even like, I guess I can start off by saying like how I started.
Yeah, please tell us how you got into investing in the first place. How young were you? You were very young when you got into investing.
Yeah, I was very lucky. Again, the partner that I had at that time, he really kind of like shifted our focus when I started dating this person when I was 19. And by our first year anniversary, we were both working 2 jobs because we wanted to save money.
Yeah.
And so on our first year anniversary, our anniversary date was to go get ice cream because we didn't want to spend money, and we had both just worked 2 jobs. So
Wow.
we were tired. And so and like we cut back every bill, and like I know like everybody's like, no, my bills are as little as possible, but there's always somewhere you can cut back. There's always somewhere you can renegotiate, even something like a cable bill or a phone bill or anything. You can call and say like, I'm going to cancel. What will you do to save me? And they will a lot of times say like, oh, we'll give you this special deal for a year. Renegotiate the next year. Like there's so many little things, and every little thing adds up. Like I remember even when we were saving up money to buy a house, I wanted to spend like $20 on a meal, and he would say that's like a recessed light. At the time, that's how much it cost to actually install a recessed light, was $20 per light. And so like it was like everything was a savings. To we were both making minimum wage at the time, and we were saving $3,000 a month somehow, and still paying rent and still paying bills and still like existing. Again, this was like 2006 at the time. So we initially were saving with the thoughts of buying a house in LA. And when we got to the point where we thought we could buy, we started looking around LA. We started talking to different investors, and they were like, yeah, in LA, if you buy, don't expect to make any money if you rent it out. It's only, you probably will have to spend money. You'll make money when you sell.
Okay.
And so then we started looking outside the California area.
Yeah.
And we looked at Arizona and Nevada, and we kind of set our sights there. At the time, I was working at a mortgage company, and I was starting to see a lot of extremities in these loans. So I was seeing people that were buying houses that there was a house that I remember that I was QCing the loan for, and somebody had died in it. There was a flood and a fire in it, and it was basically destitute, and there was five offers on it. That's where we were at before the housing crisis.
Wow.
And so then we kind of started seeing this, and we expected something to happen. We just didn't know how soon and how extreme it would happen.
Yeah.
And then it happened. And at the time, lucky for us, and I know it's different now, we could buy a house in Nevada for cheaper than you could build it for.
Wow.
And that's including the land.
Fuck.
So we were buying houses. We bought our first house in Nevada that we still own today, is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2,500 square feet for $170. And we bought a second home in Arizona that was on a golf course, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, on a golf course. We bought it sight unseen for $99,000.
I'm sorry. That's just fucking insane.
It's insane.
Okay, cool.
So we got very lucky in that factor.
I'm so glad you guys got that.
We did, yeah.
You deserve it.
But even at the time, so like, again, to kind of like bring it back to like what we felt at the time was, this is the most money we've ever spent.
Of course.
This is like, we're over leveraging ourselves in a way that we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know how to manage anything. This is out of state. Like we don't know what to do, but we're going to do it.
Yeah.
And at the time, like, we were like, but we can't lose, right? Because you can't even build a house for this price.
Yeah.
So we got really lucky in that factor. So, like, I'll get to this point later, but I was talking to this person recently, and we were saying, what do you do today?
Yeah.
That is, for people today, that is so different from what we experienced.
Worldly different, yeah.
But the thing is, when we were at that time period, we were like, man, if we were to have been older during the beginning of the e-commerce breakthrough, like if we could have invested at that point, we would have been so rich.
Yeah.
And there were people that got to take advantage of that bubble. We got to take advantage of the housing bubble. There's always bubbles to take advantage of. You just have to look for them and know for them. And that takes, like, at least, like, you don't have to be so finger on the pulse of knowing everything, but you have to be aware of what's going on in the financial market. Like, as much as it seems like that's boring, as much as that seems like that doesn't apply to me, it does if you're going to invest. And so you do have to have your finger on the pulse in some sense, where you're like, just read Yahoo Finance every day. In the morning, just read the top stories. Okay. You'll know.
Yeah.
And then make assessments and make decisions from there.
Yeah.
So we bought those 2 houses. We kind of like cooled off from there, and then we started investing more in stock market, and that was more of a safety net. So for us, it was like if you pick like the S&C 500, which is like a compilation of all the major companies in the stock market, that's an easy bet. Like that over time, if you look at that market, always goes up over time. It might have dips and like ups and downs,
Sure.
like, but over time, that's always going to go up. So that's something else you can do. I also invested with a company back then called Acorns that's still around today, where
Acorns
it
is-
rounds up what you buy.
Spend on stuff, right?
That's no thought process
it's an app,
at all.
correct?
It's an app.
Yeah, so it's an app that you download that you connect to your bank account, correct? And it like always the extra change
Rounds up, yeah.
it rounds up and it invests it for you, correct? Okay.
And all you do is put like a target retirement date. That's literally no thought, and that's small change that you're not thinking about. That's like it's
That adds
not
up.
going to affect your bank account at all, and that's going to be something that you have in the future. In addition to that, okay, like let's go back to the houses. So we had the houses, we did the stock market, and I will say with the stock market, of course, like it's a little bit harder because you have to buy an entire share. And so like if you're buying an S&P, like I go through Vanguard, and so Vanguard's S&P 500, which is Vanguard 500, that is a little bit less costly. So you can buy some more of those shares than you would like the S&P 500. Like that's a little bit like that's like out of a lot of people's league, and you have to buy an entire share, so that makes it a lot harder. So that's I would focus more on like a Vanguard or like a Robinhood where you can buy partial shares.
Yeah.
The one thing that I'm really into today is crypto.
Yeah.
And again, like that's a lot of people don't fully understand or know what that is. Like a lot of people look at crypto that don't know and think of it as a currency. It's a currency and a technology. And the way that technology is laid out is going to be how the world functions, in my opinion, in the long run. And so what you're buying a piece of is not only a currency, also a technology, and also you can buy portions of it. So say you have $25 to invest, you can go on Coinbase and set up a $25 into Bitcoin, into Ethereum, into the major coins. Don't go to these like meme coins where it's like,
Dogecoin.
yeah, where it's like you have to watch that market at that point so you can see like, oh, it's going up, let me pull out, or like, oh, let me put in now. Like go into the ones that are like the S&P 500 where it's safe. You don't have to watch it. Put your money in it and forget about it, and put like $25 like buy-in every week. Like you're spending $25 on a meal easily every week. Easily.
Yeah.
Commit that to putting
Potentially
it into,
every day.
Yeah. Potentially every day. Commit that into buying a share, like a fraction, and you don't know what happens to that in the future. You do know if you don't invest.
Yeah, you're not
if you
getting
just
anything
spend your money, if you expect you're going to make money for the rest of your life, you're never going to get fired, you're going to screw yourself in the long run. All of these corporations don't care about you. They
You heard it here first.
they do not care about you.
my
They
God.
will fire you. A lot of these companies, because of these technologies, are going to fire tons of people.
Yeah.
A lot of these technologies like AI that are being created or are going to make you not necessary in your job. So the only thing you can do to protect yourself is plan for the future. You can only invest, you can only save. You will never regret saving $1. You will regret spending $1. You will never regret saving $1.
And she just answered all of the questions.
I feel like I just went on for a really long time. I'm so sorry.
No, I'm so glad that you did, because I mean, you're obviously very well informed. That's the whole reason you're talking about this, and that's why we wanted to bring this up, because the girlies, aka me, I'm like he. I make enough money that I comfortably live. I have no. I'm very fortunate to not have any loans. You know, I have a credit score that I feel very proud of. You know, things like that where I'm
Wait,
like,
say your credit score, because like I feel like people don't tout about that enough.
Yes,
like so
yes.
many people are like, you work really hard for that number, but
Yeah.
nobody says it. Like it's not like a shameful thing. You should be
Yeah.
proud of what you worked for.
yeah, I think I was, I want to see, I like around 782 last
That's
time I checked.
amazing. That's incredible.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Thank you. But that's last time. I don't know. It fluctuates.
It's probably
And
higher now.
I'm on I wish I knew, and I'll put it, like, maybe we can put it in the description of this episode. I'm on, like, I'm connected, my bank account, all my bills is connected to something that I can see what's
Yeah.
getting taken out every time.
Yeah.
It does give you a credit score without docking your, you know, I forget what it's called. Mint, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
I use Mint.
Yeah, Mint is great. I think it is Mint. Thanks, Will. So yeah, that one's something that's like I believe I use Mint, and it's super helpful to help me. Like,
Great.
and you can budget. You can say like, oh, for every month I only want to spend $50 on gas or whatever. That's not, you're not going to be spending that. But the things, you can set up things like that for yourself. So all I'm trying to say is that I am someone that is a little intimidated by investing because I don't want to invest in the wrong thing. But then I'm also like,
Is it mainly the fear, or
yeah,
what is
totally.
it?
I think I'm afraid of just like putting my money in something and not getting anything back. But then I'm like, but
you're not
if
getting
I'm not getting anything,
So
I'm
here's
not,
the thing I'll tell you too. If you're thinking of that as investing, think about how much costs are going up.
Sure.
So therefore, your dollar just sitting in a bank account, you're actually losing money anyway.
Yeah, totally.
So therefore, you're losing money either way. So either you're going to have the potential to make more money, or you're guaranteed to lose money.
She's making some interesting points. It's true. You're right. And like every time we've talked about it, I'm like, yeah, I need to invest. And then I like,
it's hard when it's
get,
not in front of you. Like
Yeah.
that's why you have to almost make the routine of like just how we check social media.
Yeah.
The first thing I check every day is my Coinbase, because the thing that I'm highly invested in
Yeah.
is crypto.
Yeah.
So every day, my first app that I open is Coinbase. Where's the market at? What is going on? Like I'm reading the articles. Like that's the first thing I check. Then I go to Instagram.
we are only human.
Don't judge me.
There's nothing to judge. So you have your shit together, which is great. And then I think to your opinion, right? But someone watching this, someone sitting across from me, I'm like, damn, there's some things I can learn, And I think it is like, I would consider myself very brave in a lot of things, but like money, I'm like, girl, no, if I can't touch it, if I can't see it. Ari's like, me too, girl. And it's true. It's like, I
get it.
I'm definitely not someone that's irresponsible with money.
No,
I
you're
have a
not
lot of
at
friends
all.
that I'm like,
Yeah.
girl, where are you? What? How?
Yeah.
And it's like, and you're right. Like we've talked about many times on the podcast, like we have multiple side hustles,
Yeah.
me and you and all of our friends.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I've never considered myself someone who's bad with money.
No, and you're definitely
And I'm not, but I'm like, I definitely can up level, and I would like to up level because I do want to own multiple things, like multiple real estate,
Yeah.
that is like when I talk about end goals and like my Barbie dream house world, I want to own multiple buildings,
Yeah.
and I want to have rent revenue coming in, and I want to,
Yeah,
and I'm like,
yeah.
girl, where's your money going? Where are you? You're shopping at Whole Foods. Okay. And I love Whole Foods, and I will never stop shopping at Whole Foods. But I'm also like, okay, but if I'm buying kimchi for fucking $13, maybe I
Right.
can chill for a fucking
Right.
month and invest that $13 in like a Robinhood app or something like that,
Yeah.
where I'm getting money back passively, that I'm not,
Totally.
like I don't have to
Yeah.
have my finger on the pulse, like you said.
Well, even like if we talk about passive income, that doesn't only happen from investing in the stock market or in crypto. That really is like, that's entrepreneurship as well. Like, so there is so many different avenues that you can explore. The main goal is to have passive income.
Yeah.
And that can happen from real estate, that can happen from stocks, because in a lot of stocks, you also get dividends.
Yeah.
And so depending on the stock that you invest in, you'll get dividends, and you can either choose to cash out those dividends, or they can be reinvested.
Yeah.
And then you have like something like crypto, but then there's also businesses, like
Yeah.
creating a business for yourself, creating something that you can sell, creating something that like
Yeah.
is going to create a lifetime where nobody's telling you how much you're going to make, how you're going to make it. You're waiting for somebody to give you that access to like more money. Like
Yeah.
you're creating that access for yourself. Like
Yeah.
that's also a form of bringing in money
Yeah.
that is so often overlooked when we talk about investing.
Yeah.
But investing in yourself is a huge part of that as well.
I mean, we're literally looking at it right now.
Right.
Like we
Yeah.
invested we invested in ourselves, like,
Exactly.
and, I think so many people have been like, oh my God, I'm so excited for the podcast,
Yeah.
and God bless all of you. We
We really appreciate
love
it.
you all.
Yeah.
I'm like drooling. Anyway, but everyone that's talked to me about it is like, how long how long have you guys been doing it? Well, and it's like, well, we've been doing this for a long time, but we just now are releasing the podcast with this high caliber because we decided to invest in ourselves.
Decided to put the money
and
into
this,
it, yeah.
and we literally put the money
Yeah.
where our mouths are,
Yeah.
but like, yeah, but in the way of like, we need, me and you had this discussion, and we knew what we were willing to spend
Yeah.
for something that we were passionate about, that we believed in a business that we believed in.
Yep.
And of course we're doing this because we love it. Like, I don't want anyone to think that we're just in this to like make money, not even slightly. We're probably not going to make money for some time, and that's okay. We're going to make money though.
Yeah.
But in the way of like, this is something that we truly love and are passionate about. And like, you don't have to love your stocks. You don't have to love your bonds, all the things. But there is, I would say, and correct me if I'm wrong, like it's easier to find things that you do believe in to invest in.
Yeah.
And because then you already have that personal
Well, and here's the
draw
thing,
to
like
it.
I've heard so many different mentors or people, investors or entrepreneurs talk about like invest in stocks, but invest in companies you believe in.
Yeah.
If you're buying from Amazon every day, invest in Amazon.
Yeah, right.
If you're buying rosé every day, invest in that rosé company.
It's very good rosé,
If you're,
by the way.
but like if you're working on roadie, invest in roadie. Like do what you are putting your money into, put your money into, get gains back from what you're already utilizing as a consumer, because other people are too. So it's not so much about like, oh, somebody told me to invest in like DraftKings, but I don't gamble. Like, no, like you don't know anything about that company. You don't know anything about where they're going or how they're going to expand. Like invest in what you know and invest in what you believe in.
Yeah.
Because then you're going to stay in it for the long term.
Yeah.
So many people talk shit about crypto.
Yeah.
So many people. And that's fine. Like that's like everybody has their right to decide what they invest in. I truly believe in it. I truly believe in where it's going. And maybe I'll lose everything. Maybe I won't. But like I'm going to invest in what I believe in. I'm going to put my money where I believe it's going to see the most growth.
Yeah. And that's badass. That's totally badass. No, I know that that's like a very small appreciation for what you just said. But truly, like you are goals there. That's why, like, anytime we've talked about real estate, and you've gotten me into one of my side hustles because I was like, hey, how are you doing that? How does one get into that? And do you want to talk about that?
Okay. Let's do it.
Sorry, we just hadn't previously discussed. We're both property managers.
Yeah.
So we manage the building that we live at. So we don't pay for rent and we get paid on top of that.
So I'll tell you, like for me, I decided to go into independent producing, and I knew that if I was going into that, I didn't know where or how my income was coming.
And how frequently.
And I still don't. But I did know the one thing I had to pay was rent.
Yeah.
And so if I had to pay rent, like how was I going to do that without knowing, especially in an expensive city like LA?
Yeah.
Property management.
Yeah.
And so I knew for sure, like, okay, as soon as I get a property management job, like I can leave my corporate job and then I can pursue this.
Yeah.
And that's what I did.
And you did. Yeah. And it's so impressive. And like, literally, I asked you about it almost 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And
is that long ago?
Yeah, dude.
Wow.
Crazy. But yeah, it was something that I was like, I want to get into real estate potentially, but I didn't want to like fully put my eggs in that basket. And this felt like real estate light. And it also, like, you had advertised it to me, and this is such a good way of thinking. You were like, what's your biggest bill right now? And I was like, rent. And you were like, and I was like, heard. Like it's just, once you're like, how can I at least like supplement or drastically like subtract or completely get rid of my biggest bill.
Correct.
It's a game changer. And that's what's really given me a lot of flexibility this last 3 years in like the money I was making and where I was putting it. And when I wasn't working, like, so to speak, for my other jobs that I had worked previously. So yeah, it's been, I think, you inspired me to get into that, and it was a huge help, and it's like challenged me in so many different ways, but also it's like taught me a lot about like the money that's coming in. And, we're exposed to people, their rent, and seeing how much people pay to live in Los Angeles, specifically LA. I'm sorry, we can't really speak on the other cities, but like, it's insane how much rent is. And and I talk to my family, and I have family members that are like, when am I going to be able to buy a house? And it's scary. The market's really scary.
Well, I guess
inflation's huge, it's
like insane. Yeah. And coming back to that, like recently my friend that I purchase houses with, and we're both outside of the generation that you are in, and we were like, what would you do if you were part of this generation and you had like no money and you wanted to invest, and how would you set yourself up for the future? Yeah. And we both agreed it wasn't real estate right now. Yeah. It just doesn't make sense. Yeah. The prices are too high. Yeah. Interest rates are way too high right now. Yeah. I would never suggest anybody buying right now because like not only are prices inflated, but your payments are going to be so astronomical because of the inflation of
Sure.
interest rates. Like,
I know.
It doesn't make sense to invest in that side right now.
It's terrifying at the same time because there's people that want houses that are, working. They
But
work their ass off.
unfortunately, I'm sorry,
it's
but
just the timing.
unfortunately, sometimes what our visions were of the future aren't what happens in the present.
Sometimes
and
you
don't
do
fuck yourself over because you're trying to achieve a vision you had of the past that doesn't make sense in the present. Like, don't do that.
Yeah.
So many people I know that are like, I imagined having 2 kids by this age, and then they end up having 2 kids. They can't afford them, and they like put themselves in a shitty situation.
Yeah.
Don't say to myself like, I had planned this, but like now it doesn't make sense now, but I'm still gonna fucking do it. Like, no, make sense of what today is, and then make decisions for what makes sense today.
She's dropping facts, y'all. Dropping facts. And it's true. You're right. You have to have a acute self-awareness.
You have to.
Of like what your financial freedom really is.
Right.
And I would love to do another episode on financial freedom and like what that means to you.
Don't chase the Joneses. Don't see other people having kids and buying houses, and you're like, well, they can do it, I can do it. They're fucking drowning in debt too, and they're going to get they're struggling, and they're not happy, but they're not showing it to you. Don't follow their lead because they're not showing you what the truth is. Like, do what's best for you. Do what makes sense for you. Do what's safe for you.
Yeah.
Who's told me? Neil told me that. My boyfriend told me this recently. He read a book by, who was it? Oh, I can't remember the book, but it was said this guy said, never buy anything you can't buy twice.
Oh, wow.
And I thought that was such great advice because if you cannot buy it twice, you should not buy it once.
Jesus.
Therefore, you are not safe in buying it.
Yeah.
So like that is like such a great line that I think everybody should live by.
Yeah.
If you cannot buy it twice, don't buy it at all.
Yeah. And it's not even that we're saying that you can't have these lofty goals, like they're, when I think
the goals
about,
are great.
Yeah. And like, I think about myself, I'm like, I still to this day, and I say this to like very select people, but I guess I'm going to put it on the internet right now, is I want to be like, I want my husband to be like Mr. Madison Bellissimo. Like, I want him walking in the room and being like, I'm on her arm, like
Amen.
there is, and I want his own success, but I've never been someone, and we know people, and no shade, no tea, if you are getting paid or if you have a sugar, we're going to get into that. But if you have a sugar daddy, amazing for you. I love that for you. If you are a stay-at-home girlfriend, stay-at-home wife, I'm so like, I'm jealous actually, but like I love that life for you. And I think anyone has any right to choose what have you.
Absolutely.
But like, I definitely think about the kind of success, the level of success, the like mogul I want to be, and I'm like, okay, that's not something like I have to shoot those ideas down, but I have to be smarter and safer about using my money in current day, because if I keep just being like, well, that's Maddie in 10 years problem, that's Maddie in 5 years problem. Like, no, I have to set up Maddie in 5 years. I have to set up Maddie in 10 years.
Well, the thing is, any dollar you save is for that person.
Mm-hmm.
And if you care about that person, you save for them now.
Yeah.
Because the dollar you save today will be worth 10 for that person then.
Sure.
And so therefore, like, it's just like, again, like, you'll never regret it. And also, to be the mogul that you want to be, it doesn't happen by just working.
Oh, totally.
No person, like, if you think of anybody. Mm-hmm. Think of anybody at the top tier of what they're doing. Mm-hmm. They didn't get there just by one avenue. They didn't get there by one company. They didn't get there by one job. Even there was a book that was written by the owner of McDonald's, and he said, what do you think our business is? Mm-hmm. And people were like, oh, it's the McDonald's. And he's like, no, it's real estate. It's the land the McDonald's sit on. Wow. That was their real money.
That's crazy.
So it's so much further than what like people see an image of what it might be or what they think it is, or they see Instagram and they see the cars and they see the houses and they think, I want that. But what it takes to get there is so much more.
It is. Yeah. And I think, unfortunately, we live in a city that is a huge image and clout chasing city. Yep. And of course, like, I think I fall subject to it. I'm sure you do too. You know, like, we all do.
I struggle with it as well. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's like, I know specifically, like, I'll say I won't say what kind, but we both don't drive luxury cars. No. And that is not by accident. No. Both of us are like, why would we pay fucking insane amount of money to just drive a Tesla or Mercedes or BMW, you know, just to fucking have a sports car.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that doesn't do anything for me. And some people it does. And like, if your interest is cars, that's a totally different conversation.
Yeah.
But I'm like, that's the clout chasing that I see in LA mostly. That's like the bags, the Birkin bags, the fucking like crazy shit that you're just like,
I know
how are
so
you
many people that
spending this
wear
money?
so many names, like name brands,
yeah,
and have not a dollar to their name.
Yes.
Like no
All
investment,
of it.
nothing.
Yes.
Yeah. They're drowning in debt, but they look great
Yeah.
doing it. Yeah.
And specifically credit card debt,
Oh
you know,
my
and you're just
gosh,
like, whoa.
Yeah.
And then, they have potentially student loan debt. They have, and then if they, God forbid, try buy a house, their mortgage is like $4,000. And you're like, how are you keeping up with all this? And they're struggling, you know?
They're struggling so much. And like, I do feel bad for those people because the reason they're doing it is because of what we've put out in media, what we've put out in society of what to attain is a value of a person. And it isn't that, like, and so I do feel genuinely bad for them, but then like there has to be lessons that are taught. Like I really do hope in the future, financial responsibility or financial education is a bigger subject in schools, is a bigger subject in society, is us more people talking about it on a free realm where it's like, hey, I don't know what to do here and I'm open to asking questions.
Yeah.
Hey, what's the simplest way of doing this? Hey, like keeping that conversation going, because the reason is you do have the ability to invest, but you're not thinking of it because nobody's ever talking about it.
Yeah.
And so what you're thinking about is what everybody around you is talking about.
Sure.
And therefore, like, it's not that you don't have the ability. It's not that you don't want to, because you do want to, but it's not going to be at the forefront of your mind. We have to put it at the forefront of our minds, or else you're going to get to 60, 70, and you're going to be like, fuck, where did the time go?
Retire.
And I have nothing to say for it. Yeah.
Totally. No, you're 100% right. And like when we talk about how we want to be for our partners, how we want to be for our family, how we want to be for our friends, how the life that we want to give ourselves, like, unfortunately, money is involved in that. As much as I'd like to be like, we're just nomads living our best lives. Like,
I would love that too.
Yeah, I would love that too. Yeah. But like, unfortunately, where we live and things like that, like there are times where you just need to make some difficult decisions for yourself sometimes. And whether that means having side hustles. I know plenty of friends that are like kind of ashamed of their side hustles. And I'm always like, nope, fucking don't. Yep. There's no tea. There's no anything. No. Like, get your bag, get your coin, however you want. Feet pics, get it.
Do it.
Do it. Girl. I've thought about it. Girl. I'm not even lying. Like, I like do what you need to do. Yeah. And to as long as you're not hurting anyone.
Honest
obviously.
As well. Like, the financial market right now is tough.
Yeah.
It's only going to get tougher. The way this world is, I'm sorry, like,
no,
let me just be real. It's going to get harder.
Yeah.
It's going, look at India and look at the drastic difference between lower class and upper class. That is where we are headed. And this is where this world is going, and you can ignore it, or you can fight against it, and you can set yourself up for it in some form or fashion, the best possible. Like, it's not guaranteed, but at least try, because that's where we're headed. I'm sorry. That is just, honestly.
I love that you have that take. You know, it's like, I don't even think about that. I literally don't even think about that.
I don't want to think about it.
Yeah. But it's good to have that awareness. And like, no one's going to be hindered by being proactive. Like, if you have an extra $20K in the bank because you're being so proactive and like, fear-mongering, and not to others, but to yourself. You know, if you were like, fuck, I need to save every dime, and you end up having a great, like, cushion.
And maybe I'm wrong, and then you end up with, like, $50,000 in the bank, and you're like, oh, shit, like, I have this, but nothing happened. Oh, fuck that girl for saying that. Like, no, you're not going to say it. You're still going to be like, great, I have this.
Yeah. And we'll just tell you to go and watch our balance episode, where there's still work-life balance. But yeah, I think you're right. Like, I think it's good to have that awareness, and just desire to be proactive. Absolutely. I definitely have it, and y'all are gonna have to hold my fucking feet to the fire, because I'm like, I want to invest, and then I need to. So like, I will, and I'm going to, and
I got it.
I will, and I am going to, and you guys are going to be here with it. And like you're going to be along for our journey, you know, as people, but like as a business too, like watching the podcast and seeing how we grow. And we just appreciate you wanting to even take our advice on certain things or even be a part of the conversation,
Feel free to fight against any thoughts that I said. Feel free to ask any questions. Feel free to put in your own additions to that. Like where do you stand on money? What questions do you have? Where are you investing?
Yeah. What are your favorite apps that you use? Because like it is so much easier to be on your phone and just like be able to go to Acorn, go to, you know, Robinhood, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just like automatically setting up accounts, honestly, like where you're not thinking about it. You have automatic bills already. You have like automatic things are coming out of your account. Add an investment to that. You're not going to think about it. It's not going to touch your like income at all. You're not going it's literally going to mean nothing to you until you get to the end.
Yeah. And if you want us to cover anything specifically on finance, because now you've seen her chops, you can see how much she knows about this. If you want to talk about real estate investments, if you want to talk about sharing finances with a partner, I know I bring that up every time because I'm so like, I don't know how you do it. I've never done it. So it's like something that I want to personally talk about. So if you all want to talk about that as well, amazing. And even like something as simple as like, who pays for the bill when you're going out to...
Man does. Sorry.
We have different opinions. We have different opinions on this.
Does.
So anyway, if you want to hear about that, we were happy to bring it up. So please tell us what
mine's a short story. We can get into the man does.
Thank you so much for listening to Femtel All Talk About Finance. Thanks, guys.
Bye.